my God is awesome. He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley. Hide me from the rain. Come on, our God is awesome. He heals me when I'm broken. Strength where I've been weak. Forever he'll reign. Come on, say my God is awesome. He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley. Hide me from the rain. My God is awesome. He heals me when I'm broken. Strength where I've been weak. Forever he'll reign. Come on, if you believe it, lift your voice and sing. Come on, if you know it's awesome, say it. Come on, lift your voice. Awesome. Testify. Awesome. If you believe it, say it. Come on and say it. My God. Think about it. Savior of the whole world. Giver of salvation. By his stripes, I'm healed. My God is awesome. Today I am forgiven.
Just me and you. Just us two.
Somebody ought to praise his holy name.
My lover.
Come on and testify.
My friend. Together with you till the end. Through the good and the bad. Happy and sad. Just me and you till the end. Good night, everyone. It is your girl, Javelle Livermore, and you are here on Heart of the Matter. How are you guys doing tonight? It is yet another Thursday night, and we are excited, as usual, to ring in the weekend. Tonight we have an episode that I know you guys are going to be interested. We're talking about how to overcome insecurities in your relationship. And I have a wonderful guest with me on the show. My amazing husband. He'll be on with us as we get into deep discussion about this very same topic. Overcoming insecurities in your relationship. Alright, so guys, thank you for tuning in and coming on the show on Thursday nights. We are truly happy and truly grateful for your love and your continued support. Bless you. Continue to listen to My God is Awesome. Okay guys, so welcome back tonight on Heart of the Matter. You are Live here with your girl Javel Livermore, and as I mentioned, I have a very special guest with me tonight on the show. My amazing husband, Mr. Livermore. Ramesh is here. We are gonna have this discussion about overcoming insecurities in your relationship. This is a topic that's a very requested topic by many persons. So we're gonna have the discussion today. So say what's up.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm very happy to be here tonight. There are many nights I've wanted to be here, but due to circumstances beyond our control, I haven't been able to. But I'm happy for the opportunity to be part of this interesting and important discussion tonight. I hope you enjoy the discussion and what we have to share. And yeah, let's get going.
All right. Yes. So, I feel so happy that you're here with me tonight on the show. I know that you always want to be a part of, the discussions and stuff, but with being parents, we kind of have to juggle it. So sometimes he get the show for himself, and there are times when I just have to go along and do it. So I'm happy that you're here. And guys, don't even think about it. You're gonna see more of us together on shows. Trust me, you will. Promise you that. Alright, so we're having a discussion about insecurity, and we kind of want to go straight into it because this is a very hot topic and a very important topic for us to discuss. So what do you think about the topic overcoming insecurity in our relationship?
Yeah, very pertinent topic. I think insecurity, every couple, whether you're married or you're dating or you're courting, whatever stage you are, I believe that once we're human beings, we are going to experience some level of insecurity. Now, some may experience it on a very intense, high level, while some it might be, daily occurrences or something that you go through for a season, while there are those who, due to certain factors which we are going to get into, the insecurities experience may be more long term, but definitely I believe it is something that everybody goes through, no matter what age you are, whether you're young or you're older, you're gonna experience it. So I believe that we can all relate to this one that we're gonna speak about tonight.
Yeah, most definitely we can relate to this topic. And in our very first couple years of marriage, insecurity was something that we had to learn to overcome. And even now, just going through the different stages, we still have to bear in mind that it will creep in, and we have to work on it every day. So we want to first define what that is. What is insecurity? And then we want to define what it looks like in a relationship. So insecurity really is basically having uncertainty, having that lack of confidence in yourself or in your partner or in the relationship, having certain fears and anxiety, I guess, about the relationship.
Right. Yes. So my understanding is, it does come from experiences. It can be something that you're lacking, but yeah, there's a general idea that insecurity is a lack of confidence. That can be coming from you or that you have in the relationship, and yeah, as a result, that does impact your relationship negatively. Yeah, I mean, just for the purpose of tonight, though, we're more so referring to or zoning in on romantic relationships, right? Because this can happen. This can be between, you can be a family, it can be at school. It can be many different areas, but we're just zoning in right now on those couples.
Right. So the basic definition, as Ramesh mentioned, really is just feeling of inadequacy and lack of confidence in your relationship, whether it's with your spouse or with yourself. So what are some of the things that some of the things that insecure look like in the relationship. So stuff like searching through your partner's phone, overthinking, I don't know, trying to control your partner's behavior or movements or what they do.
Yeah, I just wanted to hit a little on the overthinking part of it, because it's easy to just say overthinking, but I don't want us to even go over that, so quickly. For when I think of overthinking certain things, it can be just how you communicate. So let's use, for example, facial expressions or tone of voice. Persons who may be struggling with insecurity, just how the partner speaks, or how the look they have on their face, or the mood that they read from them, they may take that in a negative way, and it ends up affecting them, even though the person who is speaking or communicating with them really didn't mean for that, or they're not communicating that, but I am reading that from you, even though that's not what you're trying to communicate to me. But that's coming from a place of insecurity.
Yeah, I did that a lot in the early stages of our relationship, and sometimes I didn't know from time to time. So if I have I remember one evening he was working at a Flow store, working at Flow one year, and I remember texting you and calling you, and I wasn't getting through, and all of a sudden my mind ventured down the road, okay, this was during lunchtime period, and I call, I text, and he wasn't responding to the text, and then I was like, okay, maybe he's out having lunch with somebody else. He had just started the work. So I was like, oh, he's having lunch and having fun with everybody else, and I'm just here, and he's not even talking to me. When really and truly he was at work. And I just started thinking all kinds of different things. So overthinking is really going outside of the box that is not even the reality for the person, So that's what I think about. So those are some examples, some things that you can see. Another part of insecurity in our relationship that I can remember is not feeling as if I was good enough in terms of, how I looked. Like if I see somebody else who I deem that is good looking or better looking than me, I would project that on you to say, well, you think she looks better than me, when it's really in my head.
Yeah, I think that's common for women too. Right, where because there is that feeling of, okay, I am not perfect, or I'm not at the level that I think I should be at, then you're gonna be looking at another woman and maybe she possesses something you don't have, and you're gonna look and say, oh well, so because she have that and me not have that, then she's better looking than me. Or it could even, it might not even be looks, it can just be personality. She's somebody who is funnier than me, so automatically that must mean say my husband going to find her attractive because he likes to laugh, and because I don't think I make him laugh as much. If this person make him laugh, then something going on there, and you start to now feel as if you're smaller than, and believe that this person has a higher place in your husband's life than you do, when really and truly that's not the case. But again, it's insecurity driving that feeling.
Yeah, so I just remember those times, and trust me, looking back now, it I can laugh about it, but it wasn't easy on your end. It wasn't easy on your end. We can look back now and look in hindsight and we're laughing about it, but it really wasn't easy. It was something that we had to struggle to overcome over a period of time. And was there anything for you though? Because I know I had my fair shares of insecurities when it come on to you. I would try to we call it, try to cover you and stuff. But was there any for you in terms of stuff that you struggle with?
Yeah, well, for me, I think it's not so much the physical part. I think it's more so personality-wise too. Um, I believe that you wanted somebody who is a little more extroverted, who shows more PDA, who is more, who loves the social media more, love to take pictures. Like, yeah, I take pictures, but I'm not gonna go somewhere and take 100 pictures. You know, you will do that. Like, everywhere you go, it's a whole photo shoot. You know, that's not me. Like, I am just gonna be like, all right, make we take 2 good ones, and that's it. We're good. You know, but you like to share. You like to publicly share. That's not really me. I've changed a little bit over the years. So I always believe that if there's someone who displays that kind of, you know, vibe, and like you may gravitate more towards him, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I need to be concerned here, or it might make me feel as if I'm not really connecting with you, then so other people can connect with you in a way that I can connect with you, you know. So yeah, I think that's one example for me, in terms of insecurity.
Yeah, so guys, you know, this topic is it's crucial for us to have, because I know it's not only us that struggle with insecurities, but it's many couples. It's something that is very common in relationship. But we want to know, like, okay, so what are some of the causes now that actually cause people to have these insecurities in their relationship? There are a few things we're going to share tonight about the causes, that the reasons why people behave insecure in their relationship, and we're going to share that with you guys tonight. So the first cause we have basically is, of course, childhood trauma and childhood experiences. Those are things that you experience growing up as a child. So those things can affect your future relationship. And I always advise persons, before you get into a relationship, a serious relationship, work on you first. You know, get counseling, get help. If you have experienced childhood trauma and stuff like that, in your childhood too, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, even you never had that sense of security and sense of love, you're going to always feel like your partner doesn't love you, because back then your parents didn't give you that love that you desired or wanted.
Right. You were just saying something that's, you know, and that's really struck a chord for me. You mentioned childhood and your parents. Now that's so important, because if there were things that you lacked as a child growing up, especially from your parents, chances are, as you become older and you're developing a close relationship with somebody else, you're going to naturally, without even thinking about it, want to desire some of these things that you were lacking from your partner. And that can be so dangerous, because what if what you're desiring, it's only your parents can give it to you, and not your partner? That puts such a strain or pressure on that partner, especially if you the person who is experiencing an insecure spouse can't really pinpoint what the problem is. It can make it frustrating. And so let's say you never used to get hugs, hearing that your parents say that they're proud of you, you know, certain levels of affection. Now that you have your spouse, you want your spouse to give all of that to you and more, because remember, there are other things that they're gonna give you in the relationship that you don't get from, you know, your relationship with your parents, right? So their work is doubled, and that expectation is there without it even being said. And imagine all of that, you know, pressure on that spouse to give something that they had nothing to do with. So in insecurity, it can be very deep, and yes. So if you're lacking as a child, and these matters are unresolved, and it might be where maybe your parents passed away, but you never got that growing up. That is something you're gonna have to grapple with. But it's just that oftentimes we're gonna look for it to the next person who we think we can get it from. That is the persons that we're closest to. And so, they say end up getting married. That is such a very close bond that you will expect certain things from them. And so you see, it can put a strain on the relationship.
Yeah, I just remember, like, in my example, I would say is my relationship with my dad. Like, I never had a relationship with my dad growing up, but I was always told that he was a womanizer. Like, every frock him see, him want have sex with. Like, that's what I was always told. And then I was also told that I'm going to get married to somebody who's like my father. So because that kind of, as a little girl, that stuck in my mind. And I guess when I got married and stuff, and I met you, it was almost like the same thing. Like, okay, men are dogs. My dad did the same thing. I know I have other relatives and stuff who were they just went all out in terms of the one back a woman and all kind of stuff. So I kind of pinned that on you. I pinned it on you, and I said, yo, that's what you're going to be like. And it definitely had an effect on our relationship. We had a lot of ruckus, fights, not fit fights, but we went through it. We went through it in terms of overcoming that part of it. So a lot of things that you hear in your childhood or experience in your childhood, it does affect your relationship. Another cause people could say is
right. I wanted to say you gave that example a while ago of when especially when we just started dating. Yeah, because I could pick it up because there were certain things I used to say, like things like all men cheat, and it is inevitable that I am going to do these things. I kept wondering, where is this coming from? Because okay, I am here trying to live a certain way. I am trying to be faithful and do it the right way. But yet still, this woman is telling me, say it's inevitable, say me I go cheat. So I'm like, what's the point then in being with me? If you think I am going to, then why are you with me? Why not help me then to not be that way? Right, but it was coming from somewhere. And like you said, because of the image that was shared with painted of who your dad was, and I'm guessing other experiences were there too, that has just cemented in your mind that, hey, this is what you should expect from men. Because if my father is like this, then why would I expect different from other men out there? And so it just became natural that anybody who you were with, that expectation was there.
Yeah, you were walking on eggshell, literally. Basically trying not to do anything that would feed into my insecurity or make me feel that, okay, even though it wasn't that way.
Yeah, more like walking on landmines. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely difficult. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there go through something similar. You can relate to that as well.
Yeah. So we mentioned childhood experiences that affects your insecurities in your relationship. We also want to mention past relationship and traumas. That is another deep one. Persons that you were with before, if they cheated on you or you have a certain past experience with them, trauma, it definitely going to impede whatever relationship in the future that you get committed to, So I wouldn't say that I had a lot of those, because I didn't have a lot of relationships. I'm more so probably had like 2 serious relationships before you, and yes, there was one where the person cheated on me or the person lied about his relationship status. I won't even say cheated on me, but he lied, and that kind of helped to also painted the image. So that's is one. Low self-esteem. Oh my goodness.
Right. And you know, before we even got to low self-esteem, while they were talking, I was just we were sharing that point. I was just thinking also, when it comes on to past trauma, even just to go back to childhood, if you had a bad childhood or adolescence, you know, if you had experiences where people treated you unfairly, treated you in a way that made you feel as if you weren't loved, or just simply did evil things to you, then growing up you may believe that nobody will truly love you. And if you carry that kind of hurt and that kind of trauma into a relationship, believing that people won't truly love you, because at the end of the day, people only get close to you for what they can get from you. Imagine carrying that into the relationship, what that's going to look like, because it means no matter what that person does, there'll always be that feeling of, well, okay, she's doing this, she's being nice to me, but deep down you believe that even though she's being nice to you or he's being nice to you, something is going to come. She gotta do something that just remind me, say, hey, people not genuine. And so even though that person is trying to really love you as best as they can and grow to love you even better, that spouse on the other side is thinking, hey, it's only a matter of time until this person slip up and show them true colors. Because again, the thought is there that nobody will truly love you. Nobody loves you. People just pretend. Because in the past, you had maybe you were a child and adults, you know, they did nice things only to turn around and hurt you, or people just used you for what they could get from you. And we know that, if somebody using you, they're gonna say nice things, they're gonna make you feel good, but ultimately you're just a means to an end. And so they carry that in, and so the spouse is seen as somebody who is just using them as a means to an end. And so you're waiting, and it's only a matter of time. And we're humans, and the thing is, we are bound to make mistakes in our relationships. So how do you deal with that then? If you as a human will make errors, you're gonna make mistakes. But when you make that mistake, because the person is already dealing with that issue, they're not seeing it as a mistake. They're seeing it as, yeah, right, you're just showing your true colors because you're just like everybody else.
Yeah, that's common. That's really common for couples. And I've heard a lot of women who I know who are friends of mine, they talk that way too. You know, so these things have to be worked through. Well, even if you're in a relationship and you're still experiencing stuff like that, it's not too late. Nothing is ever too late. You can still work through it. But I advise persons who might be single and, you know, not in a marriage as yet, or not in the dating pool as yet, just try to work on these things, you know, so that it would be a little bit easier on your spouse or your future partner. So we mentioned two things. We mentioned childhood experience and past traumas, and we were going to talk about low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, not being secure in your own body. The low self-esteem come in deep, again, childhood, based on things people say in your childhood or how people treated in your childhood. Getting older, your body change. Having children, your body change. And all of that. For me, I was always insecure about around the back part. And I was thinking that okay, my butt is not big enough, and if he sees somebody with a bigger bottom, he's going to just look away, you know. And he wants that person with the bigger bottom than me. So I was like, okay, one day I'm gonna do an implant. But then, just knowing you and having the discussions with you about these things, because I tell you what I think, you would say otherwise. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely insecurity is a big one. And while you were speaking, I was also thinking, because I'm thinking broadly. It can also be spiritually too. You can have spiritual insecurities. What if you're going through a time of your life where maybe your relationship is not so right with God? Or again, it can also be things that you experience. You start to believe that, hey, God don't really love me because I have done so much bad that God can't really forgive me for these things. And if God don't love me, then why would anybody else love me? And so it can, so you might be in a position where love is being shown to you, but you can't receive it because you don't believe that you're worthy, or that you should get it. You don't think you're worthy of any love from anybody. And so that person is pouring and pouring and pouring, but you have up a wall, and so you're not receiving any of that love. And then they get frustrated because they realize, say, hey, well, this person, they're not receiving it, and they're probably not reciprocating either. What do you think about that?
Yeah, your relationship with God is definitely one of the foundation of getting past the insecurity in the relationship. So that's a very big point, because if you don't understand God's love for you, God places this deep desire in our hearts to want to be loved in a certain way. And I don't think anybody can give you that type of love, not even your spouse. So you can't love me the way God loved me, or the way I desire to be loved. And a lot of times we look to the person in the relationship for that type of love, and that standard is too much for them to grasp or to reach. And then you just feel, okay, well, the person don't really love me, which that's not true. It's just that there's a place for God in your life, and there's a desire that He placed in your heart that only He can fulfill. And it's unfair to the other person to want to get that from them. So you have to know how God fits in your life and put everybody at the right place. Put them at the right place. So we're gonna just kind of take a short little break before we go into the rest of the discussion, and then we're gonna talk about 2 more causes that might cause persons to have insecurity in their relationship. We're gonna take a short break, and then we're gonna continue the discussion on how to overcome insecurity in your relationship.
Away. I give myself away so you can. Come on, let him know. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can. Give myself away. What would happen if a generation embraced this? Come on, tell them. Here I am. Here I am. Here I stand. Lord, my life is in your hands. Your desires revealed.
with a 50% deposit bonus. Increase your investing power with Pocket Broker. 100 plus investing assets, instant top up and withdrawal with no fees.
myself to you. Oh, my life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself to you.
Can we say that as our prayer tonight? My life is not my own.
To Heart of the Matter, and you're listening to your girl Javel Livermore, and I have here with me today my husband, Mr. Livermore, who is with me in this discussion of overcoming insecurity in a relationship. And earlier on we spoke about certain things that affected us earlier on in our marriage and our relationship, and we spoke about the various causes of insecurity in relationships in general and so forth. So one of the main causes we really focused on was your childhood experiences and trauma that affect those persons who are in a relationship further on. And we also mention past relationship traumas. We mention having low self-esteem, and we want to mention one more critical point is if you struggle with mental illness, like for example depression and anxiety, that also affects how you relate to your spouse and might cause you to have certain insecurities. So there are many different causes that we can go into, but we wanted to just pinpoint those four main causes that affect generally couples. So now we kind of want to also give like an example of persons in the Bible who were in relationships and they experienced certain insecurity. So one main example was Mary and Joseph, the parents of Jesus, the earthly parents of Jesus. and how they Joseph experienced insecurity when Mary got pregnant by the Holy Spirit, and how it went down in that perspective. So, to give a little background, the Lord led Joseph and Mary to be engaged, and during their engagement, Mary got a vision from an angel, Gabriel, and Gabriel told her that she was going to be giving birth to the Savior, the Son of God, and she was already pregnant. And Joseph didn't know about this pregnancy until, of course, she revealed it to him, and he found out. They weren't intimate nor nothing. They were just engaged to be married. So I know from the human perspective, thinking in Joseph's shoes, he must be saying like, this woman cheated on him. Actually, I haven't even married her yet. So from the male perspective, what do you think Joseph would have been experiencing?
Yeah, that one's a tough one. Because I know if it was me, I'm going to be saying, but we're engaged. We're not living together. We haven't had any sex, nothing. So, how are you going to tell me now, say, you're pregnant? Right. There's no way on God's green earth that you're just pregnant by yourself, so. Right? I mean, just imagine hearing a woman tell you that in 2025. First thing you're going to say, something wrong with the woman here still. She crazy. She's a nutcase. But then if you see say she really pregnant, belly growing and all, you say, no man. No man. Your family, your friends are going to say, but you idiot. Your man take you for fool. Yeah. A jacket to get from her. In our culture, we know the jacket rate high. Imagine if Mary was a Jamaican woman. You just say, no man, a jacket. Nothing you say is going to convince me otherwise. You can't come and tell me, say, God make you pregnant. It's a miracle. When you're like, no man, nobody call God name in this. Yeah. And so it's very interesting that for that, this is a miracle birth, miracle pregnancy. Yeah. So I think it required a miracle intervention in order for Joseph to be on board. And I think it'll be saying for me, like, God have to come and tell me that. But that's exactly what happened with Joseph, where an angel had to come and tell him. And I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's only fair. Nobody can knock Joseph for that. Yeah. Because and in that time too, it really put him in a sticky position, and her too. Because remember saying them time that them take adultery serious. Right. Yeah, they're not married, but being engaged is almost as binding as marriage. It's not like where you just say, me and the person there. So you're just there. No, it's not like that. Like, if you're engaged, it's almost legally binding. So it's a serious something. So when you have that kind of violation where it's obvious you have to have sex in order to get pregnant, then the next man they're like, you just come on and give me belly. Serious thing, public shame, all of that, just say serious stuff. Shame on Mary's family too. Yeah. So a lot was at stake right there. And so I can imagine how Joseph would have felt. I mean, you're talking about insecurity. I mean, feeling hurt, betrayed. That make him question himself, like, what the heck did I do for this woman to treat me like this? Yeah. I've only been nice. I've only been kind to her. Me I go marry her. Like, that's a woman's dream. You want a man propose to you. Feeling paranoid. You want a man marry you, but you turn around and do that to him. That level of deceit. And say that's going to bring him embarrassment, and you must be wondering, like, Mary not love me. Mary actually love me. Where did I go wrong? How did I not see the signs? Said this woman was up to no good. But then it must be conflicted, because maybe Mary was really genuinely nice to him, genuinely good to him. So I'm like, how can somebody who seems so good really do me so dirty? Yeah, that was definitely a dilemma.
Yeah, so that's one example. There are many others that we can probably share with you guys, but I know in terms of the relationship with Joseph and Mary, the Holy Spirit had to not the Holy Spirit, the angels had to intervene, and they did intervene. They in a dream and told him that Mary, it's okay. You can go ahead and marry her. She is going to have the Son of God, Jesus, and so forth. And that's kind of how he kind of, got over his insecurity. And I would say, for some relationship too, like ours, I felt like God had to intervene to kind of help me and help you with the insecurities that we were facing, to kind of get past, so we can have a more intimate marriage and relationship. So it took a number of years, and I know for persons too, God really have to intervene in these kind of situation, because it can really cause pain and hurt for the other party in the relationship.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the Mary and Joseph situation too. The Bible does speak to him being somebody who takes the law seriously. So he's obviously somebody who had some firm footing in terms of his spirituality, his walk with God. Now, why I mentioned that is, imagine if he didn't. Imagine if he was someone who, prior to that incident, we don't know, but imagine if he had some very great insecurities struggling with, and for something like that to happen, maybe even if an angel came to him, he would have still been questioning. Maybe wouldn't believe, because remember, even then Jesus did miraculous things, and the Pharisees saw, and they still didn't believe that he was the Son of God. So imagine if Joseph wasn't a man of faith, if he was a man whose insecurities were bigger than his faith, then even if God is speaking to him, he wouldn't be listening. And I know we're gonna speak also as to how we can deal with it, but that's so important that whatever insecurities we're facing, that it does not become bigger than who we are, than our faith, than the things that we should be grounded in. Because then when the help comes, it's going to be so hard to receive it, because we're caught up in the things that are holding us back.
Yeah, you're definitely right. So what are some of the signs we can look for? You're in a relationship and you don't really know, but your spouse or your partner they act a certain way and you don't really like it. So here are some of the signs that we kind of did our research, and we can, by our own experience, we can share with you. So of course, the person overthinks a lot. The person is paranoid of others around you. The person is very hypersensitive. Like, if you having a conversation with the opposite gender, they feel hurt, or they overthink to say that, oh, you're smiling a lot with a person, so that means I look the girl, or whatever. So we have overthinking, paranoia, being very sensitive to the tone of your partner's voice or how they speak to somebody else, being emotionally withdrawn. So, alright, well, I don't think you can love me, as we mentioned earlier. So I'm going to put up a wall. I'm not going to give you too much into me. So emotional withdrawal, controlling the other person. So not wanting you to have conversation with others, searching through your phone. Don't want you to go to, like, if you go to work at 8 and you finish at 4, by 4:30 they need to ensure, say, you reach home. Just controlling, having these controlling behavior. And of course we mentioned being paranoid, which is also connected to being controlling. So these are a lot of different signs.
Even being controlling, it can also be emotional as well, because some persons, it can be so extreme that they become manipulative. So they would even, when you think of the most extreme persons, you may have persons who they're threatening to harm themselves if you leave, or if you do something that makes them feel even more insecure, so yeah, stuff like that. So emotionally they can try to manipulate the situation to get the outcome that they want from you, and we know those things can destroy relationships over time too. And even also with insecurity, I guess they go hand in hand, is lack of trust. Yeah,
lack of trust, most definitely. So you know the signs. We spoke about the various signs, we spoke about the root causes, and we spoke about what insecurity is, and we gave a biblical example of someone who experienced that in their relationship. Now we want to talk about how we overcome. How can we get past this? Because it really can put a strain on your relationship. You can literally be miserable. If you are the person insecure, you can be miserable. And if you are the person experience your spouse being insecure towards you or in the relationship, it can be miserable. And you don't want to live like that. Relationships are supposed to be trusting, where you can trust the person. You're supposed to feel free, where you don't have to be worried about what your spouse is doing behind your back, and those things. And you don't want to live like that. It's not nice to live like that. Like, we have experienced that, and I think we're kind of at a stage now where if you would say so, I think we're kind of at a stage now where it's not that way anymore. And I think I am growing and, overcoming it as well. So what are some of the things, based on your male perspective, that you can do to overcome insecurity as a male? Then I can give the female perspective.
Yeah. So when I think about this, first thing that comes to mind, so not an exhaustive list, but just want to share a few things. Now, the big one for me is, I believe that self-discovery must never stop. Meaning that you must continue to work on yourself, continue to grow individually. So yes, as a couple you're going to grow, but a lot of times when we get in relationships, especially when you get married or you start having children, you can become lost. Your identity becomes lost in the routine, in your family, in your children, and it can cloud your perspective. You start to lose a sense of who you are. And if you lose a sense of who you are, then that's going to cause problems later down the road. Because then if everything is caught up in your spouse or your kids, what happens when your kids get older and they want to start discovering life on their own, but you're hanging on to them? That can cause a problem because you are looking to them for happiness. Likewise, your spouse, you get too caught up in making your spouse happy that you forget that you need to be happy as well. And so what happens when that spouse is going through a tough time, or they're not able to do the things that they used to do, or they're not doing it how they used to do it, then you will suffer. So there's this false sense of security and feeling as to who you are. Who you are is important. Knowing who you are, knowing whose you are is important. And so I would encourage not just myself, but others, continue to grow in who you are. Continue to know what you like. As you get older, that's gonna change. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly going through changes, experiencing different things. And so there's an aspect where you have to do that on your own too. In terms of who you are in Christ. So spiritually, you want to grow spiritually as well. You want to ensure that foundation remains intact. Now we know when you come on to faith, you don't just believe, and you have a belief system and you have a faith in God here and it just remains that way, it's always tested. And as you go through life, it can be tested. Your foundation can start to shake. It can start to weaken. So you have to keep on strengthening, building, and maintaining it. Just like how you have to maintain your body, you have to also maintain that aspect of you as well. Because those are the things that ensure that your security remains, that it is firm. And so if you can do that, then when you bring that now into the relationship, you find that you're more complete, you're more healthy, and your partner gets a better version of you. And when there's disappointments, you can react better to it. When there are any changes that occur in your life.
Right. So those are definitely two major things. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. I will just give one point as the female. I would say once you get into a marriage, it's really to trust God. Trust God with your spouse, especially if he's someone that is a lover of God. Trust him to work through your spouse to protect you. So don't look at the person as high up, but really just depend on God to allow your spouse or your husband to lead you the way he needs to lead you. So that's one thing. And of course, the self-identity, separating yourself and knowing who you are. So those are things. So guys, thank you guys for tuning in and listening in on the show. I hope you enjoyed the discussion about how to overcome insecurity in your relationship. We want to say big up. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourself. See you next week on Heart of the Matter. Big up yourself.